Welcome to Club Damingo, brought to you by Cyclone Comics.
Let's get it on. Let's go.
I can see clearly now. The fog is gone.
The lids have gone.
The lids have gone. So anyway, yes, kiddies, this is my post-op face. I'm still healing a little bit, and it's a little bit swollen here and there. But a week of having blurry vision has come clear yesterday. So today...
Yeah, so for the kiddies at home, I vetted this before we came on air. This is actually Gary Chaloner. I know it looks like Tom Cruise, but it's actually Gary Chaloner. It's
Tom Cruise from Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, exactly. The plastic surgery, has made a handsome man all the more handsome. I don't know how they did it, but there you go.
Yeah. I had a little bit of surgery in case we've got new viewers or anything, that my eyelids were trimmed because they were weighing down on my eyes too much and starting to disrupt my vision. So this has been going on 3 to 4 years on the wait list, trying to get seen by the ophthalmologist. And finally, it all sort of came together, and the operation was last week and in between shows. So we're back.
Fantastic.
We're back.
Well, why didn't you get like laser surgery done for your vision and everything all at the one time? Why not get like bionic eyes?
Because I've got nothing to laser surgery. It's like I just got weak as fuck eyes,
Right. They can't be fixed by changing the...
No. Although, the place, the day surgery where I went, there was a foyer full of people getting cataracts cut out and, all that miraculous surgery done on their eyeballs. Luckily for me, that would send me crazy, but it was just working on the eyelids, which was pretty amazing in itself. Of course, I was awake during the whole procedure. So, but anyway, that episode of my life is over with. I've got a couple more days of healing and the swelling will go down, and onwards with life. Back to drawing.
Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. That's what we want. More comics more often. More pages done more often.
Yeah. Now this show is going to be a fairly small, short one because we're on a time constraint.
Yeah.
So gurgle up fast.
We were pre-show unbroadcastable gossip for too long, weren't we? Before we hit record.
Right.
But we've the folio webinar is on in our time and hours from now, so we don't want to miss that.
That's right. Yeah.
So I've heard somebody say that it'll probably that there's surely to be a recorded version for people to watch it later because most people are going to be at work today, Thursday at midday. Oh, you're going to be putting this up later today, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, we're almost contemporary for once.
Yeah. I'll be editing it tonight because I've got work this afternoon, but I'll edit it tonight. Might go up a day late, but we'll see how we go time wise. If we don't fuck up too much, it could be an easy edit of just plopping the video in. There we go. Okay, do you want to go through some real quick housekeeping before we move on to items?
Sure. What have you got?
Well, I'll insert some graphics to make it easier, but we have one more car shortlisted project, which we didn't get to last week because it wasn't posted, so we didn't know, which was Fridge Boy from Space by Rob Feldman by Comic-Oz. That was the last of the shortlisters. And while we're talking, I'll post that graphic up over my ugly mug and people can see the cover. But the cars were held last Saturday evening.
Yes, indeed. So before we move on from Fridge Boy from Space, published by Oz Comics, but written and drawn by Rob Feldman, who honestly, for my money, is one of the most fun cartoonists in this country. His work is so much fun. Beautiful line work, like it's really lively, and his cartooning style is just, one of those styles that's pushed way to one end, really exaggerated and fun and full of floppy limbs and floppy heads, and really, really cool. So if you've not seen Rob's work, you should check it out.
Would it be would it be accurate based on photos I've seen? I think I've met him once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like his artwork.
To a certain extent, yes, absolutely. But he's also an entertainer. Like, so yeah, he embodies it completely, I think.
I don't know whether
And a
this
lovely
is
guy. I love
yeah.
seeing Rob whenever we're in the same space. So
I
yeah,
keep on imagining him blowing up balloon dogs and giving them to kids, and like
that would be him, I'm sure.
pulling hankies out of his jacket pocket. And,
Yeah, yeah, and then
yeah,
doing a pratfall. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So
So,
anyway, that was the end of the shortlisters for the event, and the actual CAAAs awards were announced on Saturday night at the State Library.
listen,
I couldn't even look at the live stream because I was in a world of blur. So I had to wait until the next day, day or two for Belle, my wife, to read any official announcements of who the winners were, the recipients. And that Carmichael posted. I don't think there's a page officially listing the full gamut of recipients yet. But I've got a list of recipients if we want to go through that. And just,
are you sure it's complete?
I think it's complete.
All right, well, let's go for it. Because I didn't, I should have thought of that. I didn't do that homework. You should have, you should have told me to do more for this episode, Gary. Because we normally shoot on Tuesday and upload on Thursday, and we've waited till Thursday so that Gary's eyes can come better.
What did I say earlier? Look less like a kick football.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Okay.
I'm just going to post up graphics as we talk through this list here. But there was a single gold, which was In Utero by Chris Gooch, published by
Brilliant.
which is
I love In Utero.
Yeah, this is only going to be a quick listing because we've been through all these before. So silver awards, there was 3 of them, I think. 1, 2, 3. Dear Editor, written by Ryan Lindsay, which is a collected edition of that project, I believe. Sammy Cavella is the artist, and there was Lauren Affey and Jim Campbell worked on it, as well as colorist, letterers, whatever, a part of the team. But Ryan K. Lindsay and Sammy Cavella. Then there was Godzilla, Skate or Die by Louis Joyce, published by IDW. There was Kobe Dog by Finn McCabe as well, which was self-published, which I bumped into a post by Mr. McCabe during the week, and he was dead chuffed to get the award. So that was nice seeing that response from him. So that was the silver awards. The bronze awards, let's see, we've got Adelaide and the Shooting Star by Alice Lamb. The Girl I Left Behind by Gentle Coda. All these projects are like well-deserved recipients.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Dreamwalker #1, the first issue by Molly Hunt and Scott Wilson, writers, and Christopher Wood, artist, by Gestalt. Last Light in the Dark Sky by L.G. Veldenmeyer. The Sweetness Between Us by Sarah Winifred Searle. She's always good for awards, isn't she? She's always very, very high standard.
Absolutely.
And Follow Your Gut by Ben Hutchings, artist, and Alyssa Wilde with Dr. Lisa Stinson, writer.
Brilliant. So it's a great collection, really diverse, and they
very
judges
good.
Did a great job.
Yeah. I did hear during the week that the judges were not announced and had to sign a non-disclosure agreement to, all this sort of stuff that was a bit alien to me, at least, during the whole process. Yeah. I would have thought, knowing the judges would have buttressed the decision-making process and some confidence to the whole thing. But anyway, not
sure why that happened. So interesting. When we ran it. I can't remember all the words in the credo or whatever you call it that we had, but one of them was transparency. It helps to create a feeling of faith in an award system if there is more and more transparency. So
and also, if you don't know some of the judges, it's good to find out, whether they have a library background, whether they have a retail background or creator background. It's just good to know this stuff going into the decision-making process, so that when the shortlist is finally announced, there's just some information in the back of the brain that helps you process instead of just this darkness that's there, which all plays into the transparency thing.
Exactly.
So the 2 ledgers of honor were the Dead Set legend was Arthur Mather, who was the co-creator of Captain Atom.
Brilliant.
Very famous. I didn't realize 64 issues of Captain Atom. 64 issues.
Wow.
That's bloody brilliant. And there was a Captain Atom club, and there was rings and badges and secret passwords and handshakes and
totally fantastic.
Anyway, so Arthur Mather, well deserved. Make a duck. The drugs must be wearing off. Anyway, and the living ledger of honour was our mate Michael Dutkowicz.
How great is that?
Well deserved, yes. Yeah. We've talked about Michael before on the show when it was his birthday, I think. But well worth hunting down. Well deserved recipient of the living ledger of honour. There was a dead set legend and living legend. Good on you, Michael. Congratulations and well played. And there was no platinum ledger again, which was quite weird because you and I both voted. We got an email, inviting us to vote on a list of submissions and stuff like that, and we replied, doing our duty. And there was no platinum ledger awarded. So right, okay.
Enough about that.
Next. Let's see.
Maybe next year.
Yeah. And so we've got foliocomics.com being launched at 12 o'clock today formally within a webinar. So we'll talk about...
What the heck is that? What the heck is that foliocomics.com, Gary?
Foliocomics.com. I don't know. It's a website about Australian creatives and Australian comics.
Yeah.
I think that's the short.
We're getting on a live stream today to learn all about it, I guess. A little webinar.
So we'll talk more about it next week, I think. Since we're time for.
Yeah, we'll save it for then. Yeah,
because what I want to talk about, what I need to find out about.
One more bit of housekeeping. So a certain Nat Carmichael probably texted you. He also texted me, and he said. So we were talking about having to submit your comics to the libraries, your state library and your federal library. He said you only have to submit a copy of your publication to the National Library of Australia and your state library if you have an ISBN or an ISSN. So otherwise you don't have to do it. So
now Belle read this out to me because I was all foggy. She read this out to me, and then she's a book archivist. And so she was going, I think there's a requirement it's not a necessity, but it's a requirement to do that if you've got an ISBN or an ISSN, which is the magazine version of an ISBN, which is a book code. But it's still a good idea, even if you don't have any of those things, that you self-publish a mini comic or anything like that, to send it to the libraries anyway, and they'll archive and exactly, yes, ISBN bar. Yeah. So
it's a good thing to have it there.
Yeah, and so she was basically saying, well, I think Nat is 90% right, but I think it's more of a requirement than that's the important word to use in that description of duties. Anyway, thanks for that, Nat. That's worthwhile mentioning as well. So there was this little thing called the Greener Pastures short film. That's right, yes. So that was shown for the first time in its completed version on Tuesday night.
Indeed, yeah.
You invited some industry peeps along. How did it all go? I'm going to hand the rest of the show over to you, and you've got about 30 minutes to talk if you want.
All right.
Go for it. I'll be making a cup of tea.
Because we haven't even really discussed it, you and I. You pay off your run then.
I'll be downstairs speaking.
I'll call you down from downstairs to come back up. Because we haven't even chatted about it, you and I. I haven't even given you the
not at length. No. So tell us all the good news.
It was the too long didn't read. It was a fabulous night. It was absolutely great. I don't throw a party very often, and mostly because of how stressful it is. Is it going to turn out all right? Will people turn up? Are they going to have a good time? And that's what this felt like. It felt like throwing a party, and all of these disparate corners of my life, social and formal and professional lives, all kind of cramming into one cinema. So it was a really weird night. I reckon we had 160 to 170 people in the cinema.
Wow.
Including as many cast and crew who could make it. Not all of them made it. But Alistair Bates, who played Trevor, he was there, which was fantastic.
Wow. Good stuff.
And a bunch of comic people were there, current comic people, and I've got a great photo of me sitting with Mark Sexton and Doug and Trudy from Platinum Grit, and it's great to have like all of the old timers there as well.
Wow.
Um, so, and when you say like it was shown for the first time on Tuesday evening, it really was shown for like the second time. We did a quick run through earlier, which I didn't sit through, but Nick, the director, did, because he made a brand new. You have to make a special file to show in the cinema. It's called a DCP, I think it is.
Yeah.
And and he went like a week earlier with the final cut and watched it on the big screen and did the sound mix with the guy and had all that set up so that it would be as perfect as possible. And then he rang me afterwards. He said, I've spotted, now that it's like on the really big screen, I spotted a couple more things that I'd like to tweak.
Wow.
So VFX stuff. So if we've got time between now and the screening, I'll do that. And then like on the day of the screening, he's saying, oh, I have a bit of trouble outputting the DCP. So he was there at like 5 o'clock, running the new DCP.
That always happens. Always
Yeah.
happens.
Oh my
Always
God.
happens.
There's been, I heard a rumor, an urban legend once of someone, I think it might have been George Miller, I can't remember, but somebody of that stature in the car, in the limo, on the way to the world premiere, viewing something on a screen of the version that they were uploading at that very moment. Like they were cutting whatever it was. I can't remember what show it was, what movie it was.
Yeah.
So that's digital filmmaking. You can change
Happy
it to
Feet too.
Yeah, probably.
It's fixing that McEwen scene. The bloody McEwen, I told him not to do that.
I don't think he cared enough about Happy Feet to even see the final version. So it was 5:30 at Palace Cinemas at Moore Park in Sydney, and David Quinny, Q Dog, Quinjet. If you ever if you used to go to Supernova back in its heyday, you'd know who Q Dog is.
Yeah.
He emceed, which was wonderful. He did such an incredible job. Got the crowd really G'd up, and yeah, we showed the film for the first time. And I've seen this cut, or the version just prior to it, but for all intents and purposes, this cut. I've seen this cut on my television. And I don't have the world's best television, but it's pretty good telly, and it looked great. But seeing it in the cinema was like absolutely, light years ahead of seeing it on your television. It was definitely built for cinema, and the thing that astounded me even more was the sound. It sounded so great. I could hear like the timbre in the voices of the actors that I'd never heard before, watching it on my telly or on my computer here, or even in the little screening room at MIK, the producers, when we were looking at earlier cuts. Like it was, and it was. The sound was so good that people remarked on the sound design, how great the sound design was. So the score is fantastic. Completely original score, brilliant sound design, the color grading, the acting, all fantastic. And Trevor looks incredible. The prosthetic that Nick and Paul from Makeup Effects Group did is flawless, even at that huge projection. Flawless. Looks incredible. And Alistair's acting is really interesting because I've said it before, but I'll say it again. We're doing a bit of a Darth Vader with Trevor in that Alistair Bates is doing the physical acting, but Stefo Nansu is doing the voice acting for it, which we weren't planning on doing, but in the end, the prosthetic was muffling the voice so much that we had to do ADR anyway. So we got a guy that Nick has worked with before and got him to do the voiceover. So it's a bit like Darth Vader, where you had Prowse inside it, and who was the actor that did the voice? But anyway, so all of that just came together so well. But yeah, you were about to remark on the fact that we also, because we wanted it of course, Nick especially wanted it to look as brilliant as possible. We ended up animating Trevor's mouth, so the prosthetic looks great, and you get a bit of lip movement in the lower lip, but no upper lip movement, and not as much lower lip movement as we wanted. Um, so he and Evan, who was the VFX guy, I think he said there's like 56 VFX separate VFX pieces in the 15 minutes.
Wow.
And that's a huge amount. Almost done by one guy. Evan did almost all of them. He had an assistant for a couple of things. So it was huge effort by Evan. But Nick, the director, and Evan, the VFX guy, got a particular piece of software which they trained, and I've talked to a few people about this because the term AI is a dirty word, and we've been using AI without it being called AI for like 15 years already. So it's just a machine thinking sort of thing. But they got this software that will learn, that you can teach what to do, and they taught it what the face looks like. Especially the snout and mouth area. They taught it how to listen to the dialogue and what the volume changes meant, as in how much to open and or not open the mouth. And it's not like it was easy. Like it took them, days and days and days to train the software to do the animation. But we ended up animating Trevor's face or Trevor's lips, which nobody commented on, which is great because we don't want it to be.
Do you want me to cut that out?
No, yeah, cut that bit out. But it's flawless. Every aspect of it is just fantastic. So one of the things if you're getting texts from me when you ask how it went, I'm starting to copy and paste things because I've written it out so many times. But what I've written to a few people was that there was a lot of love in the room before the lights went down, obviously, because they were all there, just wishing to see the best thing that they could see.
Yeah.
But by the time the lights came back up again, everybody was astounded at how great it was, how professional it was, how touched they were. So yeah, there was like, we went in with a lot of love, but we came out with a huge amount of respect and a huge desire to see more. Like everybody was saying, and it's not like we've left it like a purposeful, open-ended, oh my God, what happens next cliffhanger. But these are the lives of characters and the characters are obviously not over yet. The lives are not over yet. So everybody wants to know what happens next. Everybody connected to the Minotaur. Everybody felt the emotional weight of the story. And you talk to Nick about why he picked the middle-aged Trevor who's stuck in a job he doesn't want to do versus the happy-go-lucky young adult Trevor. And he said this feels like the point at which the emotions are much more heightened and much deeper. So that's the reason why that's where the story, when we were writing the script, kept on pulling ideas from. And people really, I think, could feel that. They knew that there was an important, emotional weight to it. So yeah.
Wow. So for you and Michael, was it a out-of-body experience? I know you've seen the thing before, but seeing it in context with a room full of people with bums on seats and the big screen and it doing what it's the first part of it doing what it's supposed to be made for.
Exactly. Nick says that. He says a movie is not finished until it's been in a cinema, right? Not even just watched on television. Until it's been in a cinema, where if that's what you were making it for, it's not finished. And he said, I feel like it's finished now. So was it? What was it? Was it an out of body experience? Not really. I kind of, my family were like, I don't know, 4 rows from the front, and I was kind of on the aisle, which was not the best viewpoint for me. So I left my family and I went up the back to an empty seat up the back. I sat next to Bram, who is, if you followed like the last Kickstarter campaign, I used the tattoo that he's got on his arm, a Greener Pastures tattoo, in part of the promotion of the last Kickstarter. So I sat next to a super fan, sitting next to a guy who's got a Greener Pastures tattoo. And it really was like seeing it for the first time because of how different it is in that atmosphere.
Right.
and it went by far too fast. And I think a number of people said that as well. Like it was just, it's so engaging that it was over, and you didn't want it to be over. Um, but we had still, to get to the heart of your question really there. We had a Q&A afterwards. So it was me and Michael, the co-creator, and Nick, the director, and Queenie ran that. And he during it, both Michael and I broke up a couple of times, which was really weird. I didn't think I was actually pretty affected by it, and I've watched it a number of times, and I was really kind of it was hard to focus because again I felt like it was my party and I needed to make sure everybody was happy and having a good time um, and it was completely new experience watching it on the big screen. And when it was over, I was actually pretty affected by it emotionally, and I didn't see that coming at all.
Right.
So
Interesting.
Nick didn't sit and watch it at all. He stood near the exit, so I think he was probably watching the audience a lot,
Yeah.
as well as the actual thing. But I said to him at one point, "Where are you going to sit?" He said, "Oh, I'm not sitting." So I went, "Oh, okay, you've got your way of making sure you get the most out of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the only audience experience this is going to have for a little while." But he was right near where I was sitting, so I gave him a big hug, and then we went down to do the Q&A. And during the Q&A, I reckon Michael and I combined broke up like 5 or 6 times. It was not full bawling or anything, but it was like our voices cracked.
Well, totally appropriate.
Yeah, it
Totally
was
appropriate.
it was pretty full on, and and Nick has been a little bit concerned that I've not shown very much emotion the entire time, like for the last 3 years working on it. Being shown the sculpt, being shown the first edit and the second edit, and I think he was really worried about it. And he went, "Yes, finally, McEwen has broken down." So, like, I don't mean that metaphorically. He actually was sitting next to me, cheering that finally he'd made Tim break. And I think Queenie knew that was part of his job that night was to make Michael and I, but especially me, show some real emotion.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a
That's lovely.
pretty
Yeah.
full on experience. Yeah.
Have you had any quiet moments with Nick and quiet moments with Michael since then to actually compare
We all
notes?
had we had to go back to work. We all,
Yeah.
the next morning. It's such a weird, come down where you've got to get back to work the next day.
Yeah, right.
Especially for Nick. He's made this. And I know that we all made it, but there is the writer director voice, which is the main voice in a piece of cinema. He's made this really amazing short. And I know a lot of people are hearing me say that again and again, and they're going, "Well, it's your short, of course you're going to say it." But it really is great. But he had to go back to work the next day and just do like previs, VFX layout or whatever it was that was on the slate for that day, for some, you know, VFX laden movie or television show or whatever.
Yeah.
He said it was brutal being back at work the next day.
Well, at least it wasn't a full length film. At least it was only 15 minutes plus the Q&A, so it wasn't a late night.
No. Oh, we kicked on, especially like I didn't realize how late Michael kicked on. We got kind of separated and went into our own social groups, but yeah, Michael kicked on until well after midnight. I I didn't kick on quite that long, but we had we had Palace Cinema were really nice. They if you've ever seen it at Moore Park, the foyer itself is not very big, and it's indoors and it's just the foyer that you walk through. That's where their bar is. But the outside there's an area that they can cordon off very easily,
Right.
and they roped that off
I think
for
I've
us.
seen a photo of that area. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was
It's
really
kind of
great.
undercover with awnings or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Out of the
So
way.
it's not the mainstream theater that's all the way up the end. It's the art house theater that's
Yeah.
near the start of that street there. So yeah, it was great. I hung around for ages. MIK, the producers did Vox Pops. I can't wait to see that because we're still trying to put together a package to help sell the idea. as a show or a film. So the Vox Pops will help with that, I'm sure.
Did you have any surprise people that you had invited that you didn't expect would really come up, that would turn up?
Unfortunately not, because I invited via people's agents and whatnot,
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah,
sure it never gets very much better.
yeah.
But I invited quite a few people that I know that were in Sydney at the time.
Well, the
But
pictures I've seen this morning, it looked like a great turnout.
it really was. It really was. It was great fun. And yeah, I think the two most overwhelming sentiments that we get from or feedback that we get from the viewers was that they absolutely felt the emotion. It's not like they felt like they were watching a puppet or something. And they really want to know what else there is. They want to see more.
Right.
So that's
Oh,
what
here's
we
some comics for sale. You can buy issues this, and this.
exactly. I've actually reopened my own indie store just in case. I had
Hey,
it shut for a while.
yeah, why not? Yeah, it's all about the comics, man.
Exactly. So as an industry screening, cast and crew, supporters, family, etc., it was a roaring success. I had a great time. Everybody loved the movie, and it's only a very long, but only step one.
Yeah,
We're now
yeah, yeah.
working on the
But it's
pitch
such a
document.
huge step, though. It's such a huge
Yeah,
step.
yeah.
What an achievement! What an
Yeah, yeah.
achievement! What did Anne Marie and Annabelle and Sam think?
Yeah, they're all really proud of what was made and really love what was made. It's great. There were congratulations all around. Everybody was giving Michael and I hugs and Nick, and it's like it becomes a bit of a whirlwind at that point, and I'm can't tell you how grateful I am that people gave up their Tuesday night to come and watch the film and then to tell me that they loved it. So yeah, everybody was really proud. The inner circle, my family, etc. Sam was actually pretty choked up as well at the end, and I think that's partly because the comic is like Annabelle as well has been alive the entire time the comic has been alive, but like the Samuel probably just that little bit older enough to really have been, and because he makes comics as well to really. I don't know, be a little bit more emotionally invested in it in that regard, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
So yeah, he was a little bit choked up as well, which was beautiful to see.
It's a real shame that I couldn't make it up there due to my vision, but yes, a lot of shit going on down here at the moment,
Well, the
health-wise.
the next stage is while we're working on the pitch document, is to get it into festivals. So that was the discussion over WhatsApp yesterday: is what festivals have we applied for? Who has said yes? Who has said no? What else are we going to apply for? We want it to do festivals so that more people see it, especially Nick. He's made a film. That's how you see films.
Yeah.
But if we can get accepted into a few festivals and then get a few laurels, maybe it'd be great as well. It'll
Yep.
help us when we do start pitching.
Well, I'll catch it in Berlin, the Berlin Film Festival when it's on there. I'll catch
Uh,
it.
yeah, I wish. That's actually one that has already said no. It was
Oh,
the one I most wanted to get into because it's a marketplace. You go there to sell your television show. So
nine.
yeah,
Greener
yeah,
Pastures, nine.
nine to the bovine.
Nine to the... Oh,
Uh, so anyway, we'll see what it gets into, and maybe I don't know if there's a second bite at the cherry at things like that because it's we were there's a whole system that's set up, a worldwide system where you go onto a special portal. Everyone in the world goes into the same portal to apply and to upload your screener and all of that kind of stuff. So that's what we did. But the screener was the version that we had, I don't know how many months ago, which
yeah,
had some color grading and some sound design, but not what we've got now.
mm,
So I kind of worry, did we like jump the gun on a couple of them in that regard, and
yeah.
showing them something that we thought was great, but is obviously inferior to what we ended up with. Everyone says it. Like who else was saying it the difference, I can't, I don't even know what the difference is, but it's like it is that much better than the last, version I saw from like a month or so ago.
Right. Yeah.
It is absolutely, like when you're involved with making a film like this, you absolutely see how everybody pluses the creation at every stage, and how it really gets better and better.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Um,
Mm.
so yeah,
So the
that's
Q&A
where we're
was pretty intense, was it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Michael and I can just talk forever. Like that's how I'm on here with you. We could talk forever. So we had to cut it off instead
Mm.
of continuing. But I just love telling the stories behind the story. We didn't get to. Queenie asked at one point, making a film, there's a lot of moving parts. Was there a point where, the wheels absolutely fell off, or like something went really, really wrong, and I didn't get to tell the story of how the main actor, Colleen, Maya Mitchell, how it was 36 hours out from filming, and she pulled out and said, "I
Yeah.
can't make it."
Mm.
And like I honestly was standing in my kitchen in my pajamas reading the text on my phone as I was, coming downstairs and going, what's the latest news? And it's only happened like two or three times in my life, but I had tunnel vision creep in, like I was
Oh,
starting to black out, and I
yeah.
had to steady myself on the kitchen bench because it was like, well, that's like, what do we do?
Yeah.
Like it's just crazy and it wasn't Maya's fault. It was Maya's people who were going, well, we've decided that she can't make it because there's this more important thing happening, so I guess we're out. And it was like, wow, they just torpedoed the entire thing. And this is a year ago, right? Because it was a year ago to the day that we shot it, that we uh, uh, screened it. So it was like a year ago when that was happening. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's just, I don't want to make movies anymore. Like it's just
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
hard. It's
Yeah.
just too hard.
But it all resolved itself as well. Everyone was willing to do as best they could to make sure that this short film got made.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it meant pivot, like that word is used a lot, but pivoting and figuring out a different way to do a couple of things. And luckily the script was written in such a way that Maya on the farm, with Jeff, who plays one of the other characters. I don't want to give it away now. I feel like everyone's seen it. No one's seen it. Only a couple hundred people. But we were able to shoot that in the way that you couldn't tell that was a stand-in for that day. And but if the script was different, like we wouldn't have been able to do that either. We were just
Yeah.
really lucky that the script
Yeah.
allowed us to shoot it in such a manner. Um,
Hmm.
yeah.
Interesting.
Nick
Yeah.
said to me often, like during that period, not even just when that happened, but just generally, um, that it's like trying to bring a baby into the world who is trying to kill itself in the process. It's like it is so hard to keep this thing alive. Um,
I
and
don't know. I
like
don't know Nick, but I know that sounds like something that he would say.
that's right. If you've seen any of what he's made, you'd know that that's where he comes from. And yeah, it's that you have so little autonomy, even as the director, that you try to keep as much control as possible, and you have so little control compared to, especially you who writes and draws, right? You do the whole thing. It's like there's so many moving parts, so many people, all of whom, if something goes wrong, all the other dominoes could fall apart. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
yeah, I'm dying to get back onto the drawing board and just draw what I can draw. I actually kind of a little bit adjacent to that. Amory and I went to the dangerous Dangerously Modern exhibition at the Art Gallery of New South Wales
Hmm.
um, over the weekend as well,
Australian
which
women
was
artists in Europe, right? Yes.
yeah, yeah. So it's Australian women artists in Europe. And it's mostly, it's 1890 to 1940. So it's kind of, is that the Impressionist and Post-Impressionist sort of period, which I actually really adore the art from that period. So I was very keen to see it. And it's a nice exhibition. And I was looking at some of the pieces, and there was definitely again, an emotional response as an artist that I had, not just to beautiful art, but I was going, I'm losing. I'm losing year again. We've spoken about this before, you and I. We're losing years, days, weeks, months, years, where we're not drawing and we should be drawing.
Mm.
And I don't know why it came up while I was looking at the exhibition, but as I had like again a pretty physical, emotional reaction starting to happen, which I
Yeah.
had to dampen down. Where it felt like I was mourning all of the lost time, and I've just got to stop allowing, whatever else there is happening in my life
So true.
to be kidnapping and killing the minutes that could be spent on a drawing board.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I had an awful realization, an awful but a great realization talking to Doug Bain, who is part of Platinum Grit, and Mark Sexton, who did Bug and Stump and also did a bunch of storyboards, and is currently in between storyboarding gigs, but doing a cover for one of the 2000 AD comics. Uh, and asking, not asking, we were talking about what I'm doing next with Greener Pastures, and talking about this enormous script that I've got sitting up here, and they're saying how many pages is it likely to be, and I've kind of figured out how many issues I think it is, but I haven't really ever multiplied that by at least 20 pages per issue, and how many pages that
right.
is. No, don't tell Anne Marie how many pages it looks like I'm probably hoping to do.
Yeah, wow.
But
Yeah.
Doug had a really good solution. He said you've got to have a character come out with a stick figure gun and shoot everybody with the stick figure gun, and then you just have to draw stick figures for the rest of the comic. I'm going, oh, clever. Yeah, all right, let's do it.
And get a good inker to do the rest of the work. And
that's right. Oh, they're asking where's my Gerhard, as in, Dave Sims' therapist, Gerhard doing in the background.
Yeah. Wow. Yes.
Yeah.
I had similar while I was just sitting over the last week. I've been just sitting down quietly in my own thoughts while my vision has been blurry, and I've been writing Jackaroo scenes.
Fantastic.
And they're as clear as anything because I've just been, don't forget this, don't forget this, don't forget this. And I've been replaying these scenes in my mind, and they become clearer and clearer. And now that my vision is clearer as well, I want to sit down and do those scenes while they're fresh. It's not in chronological order, but they're dramatic. Dramatic points in the story that I want to nail that feeling that I had. Yeah. And I was like, boy, my brain was going 1,000 miles an hour when there's no other interruptions.
Yeah.
So
were you able to write it down in some manner, or even record your thoughts on a?
I didn't really think about that at the time, but it's so impressed in my brain now that I can't forget them. So even now I could sit down and type the feeling and emotion and the dialogue that I'd like the conversation to have.
The thing is, it might take you weeks, months, years before you get to draw that scene. You really should write it down. Write it down for me, Gary.
Yeah, I will. I will today. Yes,
yeah.
I will today.
Oh, amazing!
I think when I crack open those files, 9 times out of 10, I've already written something similar. In parentheses, like this scene is where this happens, and some key dialogue and things like that. So, but it's amazing how deeply you can think and how intensely you can think while you don't have other senses clogging things.
Amazing. So when that was happening, do you see panels, do you see pages, or do you see a moving picture, or
a bit of both, but certainly there are creative comic panel highlights, like a double spread of impact where I was going, do you do that from the ground looking up? Do you do that from close up of the face? Like you're doing all this art direction of the scene, and that was all as plain as day in my brain, going through things, going, oh, I've got to capture that. Yeah. And funnily enough, you mentioned Dave Sim and Gerhard. It was like a scene that I was imagining how would they play it, how would they handle this so dramatic scene, this reveal and dramatic conversation that's being had. And I was looking through it through a Dave Sim lens. And the finished double spreads and pages I saw in my brain were almost not drawn by me, but drawn by them, by Sim and Gerhard.
Yeah.
And then I was going, no, be true to yourself. Don't rip anyone else off. Just do a Chaloner on this. When you get to it, do a Chaloner on it. And you will anyway, because all of your affectations tend to drop away when you're at the drawing board and drawing something, and the sum of your parts but you can't be Barry Windsor Smith, and you can't be Dave Sin, and you can't be Paul Galassi. All these things you might try for the first couple of strokes or half a day's worth of work, then it all falls apart. And what you're left with is Gary on the board, Gary on the page, and that's just going to have to be good enough.
Yeah. Oh, it'll be more than good enough. Absolutely. Fantastic. Oh, that's really great. Because I've asked you a couple of times, like, because if I had like blurred vision for a week and couldn't see it, like, what would I be doing? I would be going crazy with boredom as well. I didn't realize you're meditating on your story and running it through your head. And
it was just a slow tumble all the time when I wasn't watching or listening to podcasts and stuff like that. And I was just lying there quietly, even in the middle of the night, because there are nights my sleep pattern has been so, thrown out the window that at 3 o'clock in the morning I'll be lying there, and the first thing I think of is that scene going, then what happens? Tumble, workshop. And then before I know it, I'm sleeping and I'm waking up with the alarm, and it's like, don't forget that. Don't forget what you were thinking of.
Yeah, exactly.
So, quite an interesting part of the process. Yeah.
I've written most of my best story concepts, none of which are ever going to eventuate because I'll probably only ever have time to do Greener Pastures. But, in that state where you're trying to get to sleep and just running an idea through your head and seeing where it goes. And very cool.
Yeah.
Wow. So,
but anyway, that all plays into your comment about the seconds and the minutes and the hours that you're not drawing and in your life that goes by, and being sad for that lost time, and just being mindful moving forward of don't allow that time in the future to get lost as best you can.
Yeah.
Make a conscious effort of getting behind the drawing board and drawing stuff, telling stories.
Yeah, exactly.
And it is very sad sort of thinking of the time wasted, particularly as you get older. Like, imagine if I had stuck with my guns and not done this or this, or been distracted by this job, I would have had another 10 issues done by now.
Yeah, and you've got to you have to give yourself some leeway, and not. I don't like to use the word wasted. It's time spent, but time spent doing something that maybe it would have been better if it was spent doing something else.
Yeah. But it's just very mindful as you get older of there's less time ahead. You're not a young person that has so many years to spend anymore, and you can spend them willy nilly. You've got to be more miserly with your time.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the next step. I don't know if I've said it on air, but I'm trying to hand as much of this next chapter of trying to sell the IP as a television show, trying to hand as much of that as I can off to Michael,
right?
So that I can make the comics that he's already written, and so otherwise they'll never happen. So that's the idea now.
Well, congratulations on getting the movie to this point.
Thanks.
I think in a very general sense, as you just said then, the next stage for you is getting back behind the drawing board.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
More comics more often.
More comics more often.
Are we going to sign off? It's 11:45, so we'll leave it at that, I think.
I reckon.
See you, Kitty. See you next week. This might be posted a day late, but I'll try and get it done as soon as I can.